First thing in the day was noticed the crude oil was above 99. I sold it around this price, 99.45, right around there, and I picked it up at about 95.75, but on double leverage. So there was some kind of return. And I still hold oil because I never know what's going to happen, but I'm going to use some amount of it to go in and out and see if there's going to be a pullback. It could maybe not pull back right away because I never seem to get the exact high and low. But as long as I make money, I don't care. Noticing again, silver's down, platinum's down, gold is down, palladium's up. You know, there's probably a shortage in this metal for real, of any of these metals. And I know I hear the stories about silver shortage. There's a shortage of coins. That I see, because the coin dealers are running out of them pretty quick, and stuff that was in stock just a couple days ago is no longer in stock. But if you ever took the argument about what metal's actually going to run out and actually have a physical shortage, it's probably going to be palladium. But as far as exactly when that's going to occur, I don't know. But the fact that a good part of palladium comes from Russia, and of the second part coming from South Africa, that's most of the world's supply. You got one of those areas you have a problem with, forget about palladium. There's a serious shortage. You talk about oil being maybe spiking up because of the Straits of Hormuz. What would happen in the case if Russia decided to keep all the palladium for themselves and not export it because they found some new use for it, or hydrogen production started coming on a lot stronger, and they decided they needed it in the interest of their own country? Well, that price of palladium would shoot through the roof. But this might take a couple of years. But consider not many countries produce this metal. There could actually be a serious physical shortage in this metal for real. I was looking at some things on just this chart. And this was the Euro chart. And looks like most times when a euro gets slammed down, you look down here around October 31st, November 1st, and the euros, it's either due to some kind of, the bonds didn't go right, or sales of bonds didn't go right, or there's some other kind of news coming out about Greek default or whatever. But when the euro goes down, most of the time, when it goes down, you're going to see a corresponding pullback in silver. This is right around that date. And that tells me one simple thing. Silver is being traded like simply an industrial commodity. It doesn't have, as far as the traders go by, it doesn't really have any kind of precious metal connotation or monetary connotation. It's simply a commodity. That's how it's being viewed on the paper markets, and that's something you got to keep in mind. Now, as far as it going back to a monetary metal again, in the event of a total collapse, I definitely think it would. I definitely think it would. But we're not at a total collapse yet. You know, looking at this, again, this was the euro around December 13th or whatever, 14th. Big crash again. Going back to silver. Silver crashed around that time too. I mean, it doesn't always happen that way, but silver is being pretty much treated like purely a economic commodity, like copper, aluminum, oil, whatever, you know. That's what it's being treated like in the marketplaces. It's not being treated like a precious metal. And I find this interesting because it does go against what Lindsey Williams was saying in a lot of ways. Because if you're seeing a collapse in the euro, you're seeing, every time, not every time, but most times the euro goes down hard. The silver goes down hard. So is the platinum, so is the palladium. And palladium is seeming to take a little bit of a different animal right now because it looks like there's some speculation that there's going to be a shortage in this metal a little long term. So the prices on palladium are kind of holding together better than the other precious metals for the most part. But if there's a problem with the euro, the palladium, even the palladium will go down. All of them will go down. And the one metal that's holding up the best is gold because it's normally thought of as money. And this is something you got to keep in mind. And it makes me think about what Lindsey Williams said. I don't think the euro is going to completely fall apart right away. And if it does, I don't think it's going to be. It might not even be this year. I mean, it could be a couple years down the road. Everybody's thinking it's going to come down in like 2 weeks, a month, or whatever. I don't think so. I think it's got some serious time left in it. But there's going to be a lot of stories coming out that are going to affect the markets left and right, and I'm going to watch for those things. And hopefully you'll be able to time that right for trading oil. But I'm also thinking that the Europeans, what are they thinking? What are they doing? I think that people who are actually now investing in silver are buying more physical. And these markets may be starting to separate. It may be a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but that might be the fact that's what's going on. Looking at Gainesville coins again, a lot of coins, and I looked at this a couple of days ago, I mean, they're still out of stock. More coins are out of stock. Now here's a private mint. That's one that's in stock. I don't particularly like this coin too much, but these I like. I like the buffaloes for private mint, but they're pretty much out of stock. A lot of them are out of stock, or if they're not out of stock, they're coins that command a high premium. And then I was looking at these Timberwolves and Grizzlies the other day. They were in stock, but they were commanding, like the Timberwolf was commanding a premium of $10 over spot. It's out of stock now. It's out of stock. So it's telling me people are buying. So I mean, it doesn't make sense why the spot price is looking worse and worse and worse. And that's just because the people that are on paper trading are thinking of silver as strictly as an industrial commodity, and the people that are buying coins are thinking of it as money, a precious metal, and a store of value. There's two different things going on in these type of people's heads. And if you're looking at the paper markets, gold hasn't really been doing all that bad overall. I mean, yes, it went up to 1900, pulled back, went below 1600. But it's, over the year, it's been going up. It's been going up. It still had a gain for this year. So people are thinking of gold as a safe haven. But people buy the coins. They think of silver as money and as a safe haven. People who trade silver on the markets think of it as an industrial commodity. So I think the people in Europe are actually probably buying more metals than even in the United States. I don't know how the statistics in front of me, but you would think that's what's going on. If you were in Europe, or just imagine being in the United States and seeing that our currency, the American dollar, is about on the verge of collapse, and there's all these problems going on, like stories coming out like in Europe, it's been coming out in the last several months. What would people be doing then? They would really be buying these metals. They would really be buying these coins left and right. Now, for me personally, I might just get some more of these Eagles, or maybe a few more of the Cougars, or whatever. I like the Eagles. I just like the way they look. I know. I mean, they don't change much, but I like the way the coins look. And maybe some of those Canadian Cougars. But I don't think I have to hurry up about it, because I don't think the price of silver is going to stay flat. I think it's going to stay flat for the next 2 weeks at least. We're not going to see any price explosion in the metal, and I don't think it's going to go down. I think it's just going to stay flat for the next 2 weeks, because that's typically what happens around Christmas and New Year's time. Now maybe in the beginning of the year it might start taking off again. That might be a fact. But there are coins available, and it's not like they're all out of stock. Again, here's the Cougars, $34. They're actually going up a little bit more. The Philharmonicas are always a good deal, and you're getting genuine silver with this, and this is from a mint, an actual mint. So you're getting a quality coin too, in every respect. and they're never much over spot. I mean, I think these are actually a good deal, but I don't know, how that's going to play out later on if the price of silver goes way up. I wanted to examine this article from 2008, and it was the last time silver dropped 50%. And it's kind of good to look a little at history because what people say. This is an article against silver, but hey, you know what? I always like looking at what other people have to say. Talking about with silver's prices down by 50%, how could there be a silver shortage? Answer, there can't be, there isn't, there never was. And even today, when you're looking on these sites for coins, yeah, the coins are available. A lot of them are out of stock, but that's the coins that are out of stock. They're getting the stuff out of the earth. It's just that they're not being able to manufacture the coins fast enough. Right now, there isn't like a global silver shortage or anything like that. That's the end product coins. So, when prices drop, people that are looking for a safe haven, they're going into coins. And I got to repeat myself that the people who are buying the coins have a total different mentality from the people who are trading paper. People in the paper think of silver as a commodity, like it's aluminum or copper or something like that. They don't think of it as a precious metal or a safe haven. People buying coins are thinking it as a precious metal, a safe haven, store of wealth. Now, they're talking about, this is from September 11, 2008, over 3 years ago, last time silver dropped from like 20 bucks to under, I don't know, around 10, had like a 50% retracement. Now, one thing I thought was interesting was here. It says the war factor is always a wild card, but the silver bulls never mention a war with Iran. Now, obviously we all know this war with Iran has been talked about since like 2003, and but I think there is something to be coming up in 2012 and probably the early part of 2012. But that is going to be extremely bullish for silver. Extremely bullish for silver. It's also going to be bullish for copper. Anytime there's a war, commodities go up. But when oil goes up because of the war with Iran, silver is going to go up a great deal. That's when you see that correlation between oil and silver really starts taking hold, when there's a bull market in oil. It talks about, he pretty much, knocks a lot of stuff about people talking about silver. They always scream two things: manipulation and shortage. He's saying wrong on both counts. There's no physical shortage in silver. Well, in a way that's true, because right now there isn't that many buyers per se. Even though you're seeing like the coins coming up out of stock on the websites, most people, 99% practically in the United States or more, aren't buying any silver. That's why there's really no shortage. What happens when you have a debt default in the United States? That's when you're going to see the price of silver go way the hell up. But I also want to point out, he shows these graphs about, this is from Kitco, and this is back in 2008, January to September. And you can see it was up, went up over 20 bucks when you had the bear stearns. And it crapped out again and went down. And but I do want to point out, yeah, sure, it went down 50%, right? Well, where was the high? The high was like around $21. Well, this is 3 years ago. We're looking at $29, $30 right now, and that's up almost 50%. And people are down in the dumps because it went down and crashed. So who's right and who's wrong? This guy's wrong. It's just that some people shouldn't have such too high expectations. That's the thing. When silver gets up ahead of gold by a large percentage, what happens is, and it's kind of like the golden rule, it will slam down and it'll have a settlement period for a long period of time. It'll just stay flat. And that's just what happened, because silver did get way ahead of gold back in earlier this year. So it got slammed down, and it's just going to have a serious correction period. But The QE is going to come around the corner, and the one guarantee where the metals are going to go up is not so much because of a physical shortage. It's going to be because of the debt crisis. Governments are going to continue to print money out the yin yang till they just can't print any more money, and it becomes like totally worthless. They're going to. That's where you might see silver actually hit $1,000 an ounce. I mean, fundamentally, in real dollars, I can't see silver hitting $1,000 an ounce. But depending on what the government does to print, how much money it prints, or what happens if there's a war or something like that, and they have to print money for the war machine, silver can go up to some astronomical level. It could go up to an astronomical level in those cases. So really, the reason this metal is going to go up is due to not so much a physical shortage, but due to a debt crisis, and that's what's going to make this metal go up. But to put things in perspective, from 2008, you got all these naysayers around here talking about, it's a bad investment. All these guys are wrong. Well, in a way, sometimes these silver bugs are wrong because, when it's up to $21, they're probably telling you it's going to easily go to 30 by the end of the year, and yet it crashed, right? So, I mean, in effect, they're wrong, but are they wrong overall? No, because, here it crashed and it's still up almost 50% from this high that only occurred for a short period of time. Really, I mean, during the year, you might have said it was the high points really were around $18, so it's up more than 50% than it was from the highs in 2008, even now, as it crashed. And we're talking it crashing right now. So, I mean, I think silver's going to go to like 60, 65. It might go to 70 or 75. I don't know. But it's going to correct again, and it's going to have a hard correction, and it's probably going to go way below $50 after from whenever it hits 65 or whatever it hits, and it's going to be the same old game again. But when too many people are getting on one side, they're making the wrong move. And me personally, I got PSLV. Like I said, I'm going to dump that stuff when it gets up to a certain amount. I'm figuring around 60. I might get greedy and think, oh, well, it's going to go up a little higher. But I'm going to I'm definitely going to dump most of it around $60. Definitely. And it could be a little off, but doesn't matter. I figured there will be a pullback. And it always seems to pull back. But as far as fundamentally what's it doing, it's going up. It's going up. And the one trick is going to be coming up that's going to be really tough is how do you cash it in? Because I think when silver does go to $400, $500 an ounce, the powers that be are going to do everything possible to make sure you can't get money for it. That's what I think. And I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something, believe me.